Willy Wonka, arguably one of the greatest fictional personas of all time.
Damn straight.
On one hand, the satirical portrayal of a capitalist. On the other, a loony chocolate maker. Ruthless, cynical, and a megalomaniac, Willy Wonka is a chocolate tycoon. He's full of mischief and madness, but most of all, a visionary. But the question stands, can this character possibly have existed in real life? As a true man, a true chocolate visionary, built a whole town for his chocolate factory. Well, turns out he has, and his name is Milton Hershey. When visiting the renowned amusement park, Hershey Park, located within the town of Hershey, it caught my attention the striking similarities between Milton and Willy Wonka. Now that director Paul King's movie Wonka is making its release on the 15th of December 2023, I figured this would be the perfect time to share my knowledge. We'll be exploring Hershey's, the real Wonka's, backstory. We'll be exploring the real Charlie from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and the real-life golden ticket, and also how the wonderful machines in Wonka's Chocolate Factory actually were true. Milton Hershey was a chocolate industrialist and founded the town of Hershey. The town was ruled from within by this large chocolate factory, similar to how Wonka's chocolate factory was described in the book. Hershey was a self-made man from a poor background, yet, like Wonka, managed to reach extreme power through his wealth, where he, only a chocolate maker, would own and control a whole town. He married late and was childless. Instead, he focused all his interest in his chocolate factory and the building in Hershey town for his workers, or should I say his Oompa Loompas. He had the ambition to use his wealth in the service of them. Hershey built an industrial school, as he himself had quit school before 14 to start working, for his father was not present when growing up, and his mother could not afford high school, but advised him to start an employment in a candy shop. Milton and his wife Catherine felt so strongly for kids that they founded an orphanage for boys in Hershey in 1909. He and his wife signed over a 486-acre piece of farmland, forming the Hershey Industrial School. The school only accepted poor, healthy, white male orphans. Hershey put most of his fortune, including his share of his company's stock, into a trust for the school, valued at the time $60 million altogether. The school was built on farm work, important for chocolate making, like milking cows twice a day. Charlie, the poor child in the novel Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, is the perfect fit in the Hershey Industrial School. Like the criteria in Hershey's school, Wonka picks Charlie to be his successor, disallowing the other children of wealth whom he sees as greedy. Those he instead punishes during the tour in his chocolate factory. Hershey valued the important upbringing of orphans because he himself lacked a father. Willy Wonka is said in the book to have a massive distaste for his father, who was against sweets of any sort. Although, in the newly released Wonka movie, directed by Paul King, Willy Wonka's father is explained to have been gone since his birth, just like the father of Milton Hershey. Note that Wonka's mother in the movie was the character that originally encouraged Wonka to start a chocolate factory, not unlike how Hershey was also encouraged by his mother. The Willy Wonka in the movie Wonka also has, like Hershey, good relationships with orphans, as he forms a lasting bond with orphan Noodle. It seems clear that both Hershey and Willy Wonka sympathize with orphans and those with little wealth who did not suffer from greed. Perhaps the strongest evidence that Willy Wonka is the true real-life Hershey is the Chocolate Factory tour, available at Hershey Chocolate Factory for free. Opening in July 1915, the Factory Bureau distributed over 10,000 tour admission cards during its first 3 months. Tour admission cards. Tour admission cards. Does not those admission cards remind you of something? Yes. They're like Willy Wonka's golden tickets, hidden in chocolate bars, offering admission into his chocolate wonderland. Last year the tours were offered. In 1973, over 1 million people went through the factory. At the time of Roald Dahl writing the novel, in 1964, the tours in the factory were still available. It was in 1973 they were changed into an educational tour next to Hershey Park, allowing visitors to experience a simulation of the experience and the history of the chocolate factory. Hershey did not only build a town and a school, but also an amusement park. Hershey Park is actually one of the United States' largest amusement parks. It is situated in the heart of Hershey Town. Its stunning roller coasters bear similarity to many of Wonka's crazy inventions, such as the glass elevator and his chocolate waterfalls. Hershey Park was, not unlike Wonka's chocolate factory, designed as an amusing chocolate experience to entertain Milton Hershey's factory workers, not unlike the Oompa Loompas enjoying the wild adventures in chocolate factory rides. The children from Hershey's Industrial School were also granted free access. Similar to how in the novel, the chosen children of the Golden Ticket are allowed access to the marvelous attractions, yet in the book dangerous, in the chocolate factory. The puzzle pieces seem aligned, yet the final question remains. How did Roald Dahl have knowledge of Hershey's chocolate wonderland? Roald Dahl himself spent several visits to the US, where he would also live for extended periods of time, as he married an American actress. Already before this, he came to settle in the part of Washington, D.C. called Georgetown in 1942, being headhunted as a spy for the MI6, together with James Bond creator Ian Fleming. Washington, D.C. is only about a 2-hour drive from Hershey. Thus, it is more likely that Roald Dahl went to Hershey, and sources confirm Roald Dahl did purchase a factory tour into the chocolate factory. Needless to say, Roald Dahl was a habitant in the US when news of Hershey's passing in 1945 made headlines in media, with a focus on his fantastic accomplishments as philanthropist and founder of the United States' biggest and most cherished chocolate brand, Hershey's. That was Dahl's final year in the US before returning to the UK, only to return to the US in the 1950s. Perhaps, when hearing about Hershey's imprint on the world, Roald Dahl was left both frightened and astonished. How could one man who made a chocolate factory have such political power to rule over a whole town that he himself founded and evolved around his large chocolate factory? This must have been fascinating to Roald Dahl and his imagination. More, however, he learned that Milton Hershey and himself shared the same birthday. Whilst we cannot be completely certain if Hershey was the figure of inspiration to Roald Dahl's novel Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, we can for sure make the judgment that Milton Hershey was the true impersonation of a real-life Willy Wonka, giving out golden tickets to his factory, dedicating all his wealth to orphans, same as Wonka did with Charlie, and owning a monstrous capitalistic chocolate world filled with crazy attractions and roller coasters. We can see how Hershey was a living Wonka.